February is Black History Month. We celebrate Black History Month because it's important to learn about different cultures and styles of art, different ways to make things beautiful. We can experience that by looking at other ethnicities and the way they illustrate life. Often we only see our own culture, and there are cultures that have been overlooked. We miss out on being exposed to the beauty that they add to the world and to art if we are only ever influenced by those who look like us. Black History Month is an opportunity to celebrate some of those artists and experience the ways they portray the world. Jean Michel Basquiat was an American artist of Haitian and Puerto Rican descent. Basquiat would use his art as a way to identify with his experiences in the Black community and speak out against racism. Basquiat was a painter, and he used bold colors and words in his art. He would often paint crowns in his artwork. People have tried to interpret what the crown means. Some people say it represents himself as king, his ambition to become a great artist, or his relationship with people he greatly admired. In this painting, called Red Kings, done in 1981, it is thought that the figure on the left is Basquiat himself, and the one on the right is Pablo Picasso, who he greatly admired. Now, the crowns in this painting have several points, but the crowns in this one only has 3 points. This painting is called Pez Dispenser and was made in 1984. One theory is that the 3-point crown signifies the letter W to stand for Warhol. Andy Warhol was a friend of Basquiat and whom Basquiat greatly admired. He would paint large scale and on the floor. He often would put words as well as images in his paintings. His art was very process-oriented, meaning we could see his process. Often he would scratch out words like he was changing his mind, but instead of painting over them, he left the scratched out ones too. This painting is called Trumpet and was done in 1984. He loved music, specifically jazz music, which is why we see the trumpet player. At the age of 7 in 1968, Basquiat was hit by a car while playing in the street. His arm was broken and he suffered several internal injuries. While he was recuperating from his injuries, his mother brought him an anatomy book to keep him occupied. We can see the influence of this book in a lot of his art pieces, like this one called Fishing, done in 1981, showing the bones inside the person's body and the bones in the fish. And he would often do pieces about other famous Black artists. As I said before, Jean Michel Basquiat loved jazz music and would paint to jazz music. In this painting called Horn Players, created in 1983, we see the influence of jazz artists and music that he greatly admired. We see the names Dizzy Gillespie and Charlie Parker, two very famous jazz musicians. We also see other words in the painting, like different types of anatomy, like ear, teeth, and feet. We will be creating a Basquiat-inspired painting today with words and colors as we paint to jazz music. It's going to be so much fun. Here is an example of what it could look like. So let's get started. Hey, I'm here with my son, Caleb. Say hi.
Hello.
And Caleb's going to help us with our Jean Michel Basquiat painting today. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to paint to jazz music, specifically music by Louis Armstrong. And we're going to paint on the floor later. So be prepared to do some painting on the floor. Let me show you the supplies that you're going to need. Are you ready, Caleb?
Yeah. Same thing.
Okay, so here's the supplies that we need. You need a large piece of paper, a large paintbrush, a cup of water. You're going to need a scrap piece of paper and a marker just so that we can write some words down for our painting. You're going to need a black crayon and a white crayon, and just actually get out your whole box of crayons because we may pick another color or two to go over top. And then of course you need your paint. Now you have to decide what color scheme you're going to want to use for this project. So you can choose any of the color schemes. What I mean by that is like primary colors, which are red, blue, and yellow. You could choose secondary colors, which are orange, purple, and green. You could choose complementary colors. Remember, they're right across from each other on the color wheel, so you could use blue and orange, or you could choose red and green, or you could choose purple and yellow. You could also just choose warm colors, which are all the colors over here, red, orange, and yellow, or you could choose cool colors, blue, green, and purple. You decide what colors you want to choose. Okay, so we're gonna start by making a mind map of some of the words that we can add to our painting first. So in the middle, I'm just going to put Basquiat painting. And on the outside, I'm gonna put words that describe it. It is a painting. We're choosing a color scheme. This is for Black History Month. We're going to use our imagination. And we are going to paint along to music while we do it. So let's fill this in with some things that describe each of these categories. So Caleb, what are some things about the painting that you could say?
We could like add like light and dark stuff too.
Light and dark. We're gonna do it on the floor like Jean Michel Basquiat did.
Big brush.
We're gonna use a big brush.
It's gonna be real colorful.
Colorful. Okay, good. Let's move on. We don't have much time. All right. Let's talk about our color schemes. I mentioned that you could pick primary,
I don't know how to say it.
analogous, secondary, complementary,
and whatever. And the one
warm,
that started with an N was
cool. I think that's good.
yeah.
All right. Let's talk about Black History Month. What did we learn about Jean Michel Basquiat or about Black History Month? Oh, so we're going to say Jean Michel Basquiat here.
He was a famous artist.
He was a famous artist, and that's why we're talking about this.
Celebrating this.
Oh, we're celebrating Black History Month. Great.
Yeah. He was like a world changer, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Black artists are world changers.
And
People
Black
like
History Month.
MLK.
Yeah.
Okay. We're using our imagination. Tell me a little bit more about that. We're being creative.
We got lines and shapes.
We're gonna use lines and shapes for this painting. We're not gonna like be painting anything in particular. It's gonna be like colors and shapes and lines.
Sizes and
Different sizes of lines.
and sound.
Okay, good. And what about the music? We haven't actually listened to it yet, but it is going to be jazz music. We're going to listen to Louis Armstrong, and that's who Jean Michel Basquiat also listened to when he was painting. Jazz music is very loose.
It's smooth.
It's smooth. Happy.
It's calm.
Calm. Excellent.
Alright.
Fun. All right, good. We have lots of different words that we can put onto our paper before we start painting. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. I'm going to switch to the floor. We're going to first write some of the words on our paper you can use Sharpie markers and crayons. And then we're going to start painting. I'll turn on the jazz music and we'll start painting. Okay. Okay, so we have our paper on the floor. We're going to just start writing some of the words that stick out to us that we want to include on here, and we're going to write it pretty big. I don't want to see teeny tiny words. You could scratch them out if you aren't happy with them, just like Jean Michel Basquiat did. You can overlap them. Use white and black. Whatever is white will be left white after we paint over it with watercolor. So go ahead and write some words. All right, Caleb and I are done writing our words, and we're gonna go ahead and move to painting. I'm gonna turn on the jazz music. Caleb has picked a complementary color scheme, so he's gonna use purple and yellow. They're right across from each other on the color wheel. And I chose secondary colors, so green, orange, and purple. All right, let's get started. I'm gonna turn on the music. Keep in mind that since we're using liquid watercolors, you want to start with your lightest color first. So if yellow or orange are in your color scheme, go ahead and start with those first. Then you can add the other colors just so it doesn't get muddy.
Should I do yellow first? Yes. Should I put water on first?
See how I'm getting water on my brush, and I'm just filling big spaces. I started with my orange because that's my lightest. Now I'm going to move on. I'm just making some big lines. I'm really loose with my brush. I'm filling in all of the white space. Okay, get more water, fill in any of the white spaces. You can even get some color on and drop it over top, kind of like that.
Oh! I spilled it there. It's making sort of a brownish. Are you done?
So I'm finished with mine. I'm just going to let it sit and dry. Caleb is going to finish his. There is one thing that I'm going to try. Since mine is really wet, I'm going to use some coarse salt, some kosher salt, and I'm going to sprinkle it on top when it's really wet. And then when it dries, it'll be really fun, kind of starburst pattern. So your paper has to be super wet in order for that to work. So let me know if you guys want to try that, and I'll come around and give you some salt. All right, Caleb, are you done? That looks pretty good. Do you want salt on yours?
I do.
Here you go. I'm gonna put it in my hand. You just sprinkle it on.
All right, I will do that.
You sprinkle it on. All right, so we're finished with our paintings. We're gonna let them dry and then cut them into 4 equal pieces. Then what we're gonna do is rearrange them so that they don't fit back together in the right way. They're like in different spots on the paper. So we have to let it dry first before we can cut them. So Caleb, thanks for your help. I will show you a picture after they're done and we've cut them and rearranged them and put them back together. Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome.